How's it going, YouTube? My name is Ari, and I'm coming at you with the very first episode of Blue Lion Finance. Now, I know what you're thinking. What in the world is Blue Lion Finance, and why should you absolutely subscribe to this channel and tag along for the journey? Well, simply put, I am starting this channel because as I have started my own investment portfolio and really started to get into investing and growing that portfolio, what I've realized is that I was inspired by countless amounts of YouTubers who simply just got in front of the camera, shared what they were doing on a week-to-week basis. And some advice I took, some advice I did not, but there was one thing all along. As I said, I don't believe exactly what I'm hearing from all of these YouTubers. I don't believe that investing is all that simple after reading so many investment books, whatever it may have you. I was one of those people who actually was saying to myself, it looks a whole lot more complex and I really don't want to get involved in it. And a couple of years ago I did. I had an investment portfolio started, so I am not starting from scratch on this channel, but I did start one, and up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I really started to rev up how much money I'm putting into my investments. So right now, at this present moment, I am sitting at $61,355.63 in my Vanguard account. Vanguard is what I use for my investments. Now, that means I am precisely $38,644.07 away from my goal of $100,000 in my investment portfolio. Now, why is $100,000 what I chose as my goal? Well, Charlie Munger, he is a partner over at Berkshire Hathaway, works with Warren Buffett on the ins and outs of growing Berkshire. And he has said time and time again that it is the first 100 that is the hardest. And after that, earning money for yourself through compound interest and letting it just sit in the investments that they are currently planted in will exponentially just increase your growth, really without doing too much. So that leads me all back to my goal of $100,000. As I said, I'm sitting at $61,000. And it was right at this mark where I said to myself, why not actually jump on YouTube, see what others are out there who would like to tag along for the ride and join me on this journey to $100,000. On a week-to-week basis, you can absolutely expect that I will be sitting right here in my apartment sharing with you my dividend portfolio, which, by the way, I am a big fan of dividend investing. That is not to say I don't have high growth stocks like your Apples and Teslas that are out there, but I primarily stick to dividend investing. Why? It is really actually safe to jump into companies, these big blue chip stock companies that are out there and offering dividends, because they're gonna be most likely here for the long run, and they're gonna be able to pay me out on a monthly or quarterly basis for simply just investing in them. And that's not even to mention that over time, the value of these companies continue to go up, which means more money in my pocket as I continue to grow the portfolio of mine and continue to invest in these stocks. So with all of that being said, this is a brand new channel, the first ever episode. I would absolutely appreciate all of you who are watching this to just go ahead and tap on that thumbs up button. It will absolutely help me out on this journey. And of course, I would love to have you subscribe to the actual channel and join me for the journey. Now, with that being said, I want to go ahead and dive right into the investment portfolio so you can see it for yourself. Just before we dive into the actual investment portfolio, what I want to share with you is just for this first episode, I'm going to be going over a ton of the stocks that I am currently invested in. But moving forward, Monday after Monday, what you can expect is for me to share with you the weekly returns. And then, of course, the first Monday of every single month, I'm going to go ahead and reveal to you how much each company has paid me and the totals from the dividend returns. And then from there, you can actually go ahead and judge whether or not you want to get started in your own dividend portfolio, because let me tell you, it feels good to earn free money. So let's go ahead and start. The first company that I have and that I actually invested in back in March pretty heavily is Apple, and you can see that I have 45 shares of Apple. Moving right along, I do have some AT&T, a good dividend stock to go ahead and add to your portfolio. I will be adding some AT&T to mine. I have 4 shares of AT&T currently. I have Bank of America. Right now, what you're seeing is the account that is outside of my retirement funding. So I do have only 2 shares in this specific account in a non-IRA here. Moving right along, Brookfield Renewable Partners is a company that I just started investing in simply because Biden won the presidency, and moving forward, I do believe we're gonna have a green revolution. Now, BurgerFi is an interesting one because I invested in a SPAC, and before they actually partnered with BurgerFi, I had a big belief in that SPAC. There they are, BurgerFi, 184 shares. Moving along to Coca-Cola, I have 5 shares of Coca-Cola, another outstanding dividend company to invest in, not to mention one of Warren Buffett's favorites. Now I have Cytodin, which is actually a pharmaceutical company developing some pretty amazing medicine for both COVID-19 and HIV. I hope they have a cure, but I did invest in them quite some time ago, and their stock is really starting to take off. Then I have some ExxonMobil, 3 shares there, a share of Facebook. I have Fastenal Company, only 3 shares there. I am a believer that if I invest currently right now in Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, I will see it return later on in the future. So I do have 29 shares of Freddie Mac. Hexel Corporation, I have 13 shares. Invide, I have 1 share, and I will be adding to my investments with Invide. I do believe in them. They are in that genomic space, which is inevitably growing as we move into the future. And of course, this healthcare revolution begins. I am invested in JD.com with 6 shares, J&J with 5 shares, Medtronic, which is a phenomenal dividend paying company, 10 shares, Goliath Financial, another SPAC that has actually just merged with a mobile banking company. I do have 108 shares there, as you can see. Omnicom, 9 shares, Pershing Square. I'm a big fan of Bill Ackman and how he invests. He does seemingly take after Warren Buffett, one of my all-time favorite investors. So in Pershing Square, 14 shares. I have PPL Corporation at 5 shares, Realty Income, which is a phenomenal REIT that pays out monthly dividends. I have 27 shares, and I will be adding to it. I have 13 shares of Shift Technology, Southern Company at 7 shares, Store Capital at 2 shares. I have only 6 shares of Tesla currently, and if it dips below 500, I will be adding, of course, to my investments with Tesla. I do believe in the future of Tesla. I have 6 shares of Uber, 5 shares of Virgin Galactic, and Wells Fargo, 24 shares. Now, all of these companies, I did spend time actually taking a look and analyzing each and every company. With all of the companies I currently do have, I will be adding to these investments, and then of course over time adding in other investments. As you may notice, I do have the Apples and the Teslas, these higher growth stocks, in my portfolio. Why? Because I was able to get them when they were undervalued by the market. So let's take that March low. Of course, I threw money in at these companies, and I'm seeing great returns. Now, as I foresee the vaccines being given out globally and more people vaccinated, some stability in the markets, I'm going to be heavily putting more and more money into these dividend companies. With all of that being said, that is my current investment portfolio that is outside my IRAs. Within my IRAs, I do have the same exact companies that I'm invested in, but I just have more shares than in my IRA. Now, as I said, this is a race to $100 $1,000 in my investment account. I would absolutely love for you to tag along for the ride on that subscription. And of course, I would love to absolutely understand what you guys are all investing in, and if there are some companies out there that you really believe in that are gonna be some big dividend payers. With all of that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and see you in the next episode. Take it easy, YouTube.